Well, the second thing that you should think about in terms of this, how are we going to get this stuff done, is anticipation. Anticipating sort of, I would call them the time killers and the rough spots. I have this friend who is really great at spouting off kind of folksy wisdom. And she told me once, well, Kendra, things take longer than they do. And I thought about that for a minute. And I was like, that's kind of, it's kind of what's called a deepity, which is a thing that's like you hear it and it sounds really profound. And you think about it a little bit and you're like, really doesn't mean anything. But I really like that one because things do take longer than they do. Like you have this idea in your head that something's going to take a certain amount of time. Almost always takes longer than it does. I am personally surprised when things go so smoothly that they are faster than they are expected to be. So this is about getting ahead of those things that are going to take longer than they do. Things that are typical time killers and tough stuff in a brand to build project are: one, research. It's either not scoped for, or it's underscoped, or the people that you're trying to get in touch with are just difficult to track down. Research is one of those things that kind of falls by the wayside in project planning. You think, we're just going to do a thing and not take a step back to learn about a thing or dig into an audience well enough or dig into an area or a discipline. And so the solve there is just this fight for research from square one. In terms of interviewing, I like to use a tool like Calendly because it puts the onus on the person you're interviewing to own that time slot. When Calendly was invented years ago, I was like, this is the best thing ever because I don't have to chase people. I don't have to say, hey, I've got this time slot and this time slot and this time slot. Can you make one of those? And then they say, oh, but not this one. And then they've, by the time it's gotten to the end of it and they're supposed to be on the phone with you, it's very easy for them to ditch you. My interviewing has gotten much more efficient since Calendly is invented because it reminds the person and it puts it on their calendar and it makes them choose the time that they want, which means that they're going to have more ownership of it. So there's a plug for Calendly. They're an Atlanta company and I love them. So also we want to ask, like, who else should we talk to during content discovery? Like literally from the very first moment that you're talking to the client, and don't stop. Don't stop asking until they give you a list. And then when you have a list, track them and make sure that you know that who you're talking to and know if they have responded and know if they've picked up the phone and know if you've gotten that interview completed. Myra, our research person, is the best at doing this. She has such control over all of those Google Sheets, and she's been hounding people for a project that we're working on right now, and we're down to like 3 people that haven't responded. And so it's like, that's a great ratio considering there were like 20 on the list. Another time suck or things take longer than they do is migration of resources, blog articles, other news articles, large collections of things. Moving from a platform, say like WordPress or Wix or Squarespace or AEM or anything to Webflow is often particularly sticky and especially time consuming. It seems like there's always another WordPress plugin that somebody has used to build their blog and it makes it impossible to import. So we keep finding them. And just knowing that that's coming at you as a developer and as a content person, those are the two people that should be aware of that. Is just really a good idea. The solve is having a really good content matrix. Like get it all out on a spreadsheet and know what you're missing and know what you need to use and know what you need to have. And then also a product like our migration automation tool is great to bring things over from other websites into Webflow. And also just smart collaboration and constant collaboration between content and development, just making sure that those two parts of the project are speaking to each other, like the developer is saying, this is what I need, and the content person is saying, okay, this is what I can work with and what I can get from the client. Another one is hidden URLs. Websites are often junk drawers, and they have other domains attached to them in like one spot. And inevitably, it's the most important thing for the website. It's like linked in one place and then there's like a whole other thing. Or they're either junk drawers or their houses built one room at a time. Like there's a main thing and then there's like here, here, and here, and here. And it's always hard, especially in the scoping phase of a project, to find all those things. Results in less surprises later on if you know exactly what you're working with. And so the solve is a kick-ass content audit. That isn't just done by AI. We use a tool called Screaming Frog, but we can't rely on it for absolutely everything. What you need is a very detail-oriented person to run those links down and make sure that you haven't missed anything, because it misses stuff. Ask all the questions up front of the client too. What else is out there that I don't know about? where is there a campaign landing page somewhere that we should definitely pay attention to that isn't linked up correctly to your site? Sometimes you can also chase those things down through SEO. You can see that things are coming in from various different weird places, and you can say, what is that about? And then you'll find there's a whole other domain out there. Just a couple more hidden. QA and UAT is another thing that's kind of a time suck, and you don't think about it. It's like it sneaks up on you. You think you're out, and then they pull you back in, like right at the point of launch. You think, God, we're done. We've made the thing. And then you got to test it. And then you got to give the client a chance to test it. And so the solve there is just, test and test again. Have a multitude of different brains testing. We like to use people on staff, and also we hire QA people that are just focused on doing that. But I like to say, have a writer look at it for just, they're supposed to be looking at everything, but they're going to have a greater focus on the writing aspect. Are we being consistent? Are all the links working? Are, things being... Is the grammar right? Things like that. And then also have a design person look at it. Have people with different types of brains. You're going to get more coverage. And then content. Content is probably the biggest, oops, we forgot about it thing. I say this all the time. Without content, websites are just shelves to put stuff on. But for some reason, content is left to the end a lot of times, or not thought of very thoughtfully throughout. So the solve for that is content always thinking, and content design as the glue that holds a project together.